Welcome back, friends, to the Bonus Bone Podcast. Chasta, Mr. Woot Woot Lamont.
Woot!
I was waiting on it. Baby Huey, and filling in for Paul Tonelli today is Smelly, everybody.
Yo! The Smeltster.
Whoop, in his own private studio, which I understand is your Harry Potter place under the stairs.
Yes. It's it's the perfect spot, and nobody can bother me, and I'm surrounded by just foam and walls.
Our lives, we are in padded rooms, actually. That is part of our reality. So we invited Smelly even before we didn't know Tonelli was going to be on the podcast today because, of course, he gave us no advance notice. He just came in a few moments ago and said that he couldn't be here. So previous to that, we had actually asked Smelly to be on because you had a great topic. And I was like, that's an awesome topic. Why don't you come on and chat with us about it? So you can set us up this week, Smelly.
Well, it all started because I saw this study that came out that said entertainment consumption habits are changing because Generation Z does not like all this sex on the screen. They want to see more friendships and platonic relationships, and rather than always seeing sex. Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you look at all the streaming options now, from Shameless to Game of Thrones, all this stuff that's accessible, it's like there's a lot of sex
Right.
available.
Everywhere. Yeah.
And the topic got me thinking. This is when I reached out to Chasta, because when there's a lot of sex on screen, which I think Lamont and I both agree is totally awesome.
It is awesome.
I'm sure Huey is probably voting with that too.
Yes.
Don't want to speak for you.
It sometimes can be a lot. Because with streaming, there's like a bonkers rating system. So you don't even know what you're walking into half the time.
Right.
And I told Chasta that my reaction to sex on screen is always different depending on who I'm watching it with. And this is what the topic is, because I'm curious to how you all deal with it. Because if I'm watching by myself, that's a totally different experience. I'm like, this is great. The sex scene's awesome. This goes to the
spank it.
bank.
Okay, well,
it goes to the spank bank, and I told Chasta we have four layers in the Smelly world. You're streaming a show, maybe Game of Thrones, whatever, by yourself. There's a graphic scene; it's fantastic. You're like by yourself. You're like, this is wonderful. The show is better. Spank bank. Number two, I'm at my parents' house, and we're trying to watch something, and a sex scene comes on. So now, how do you deal with that when you're watching a sex scene next to your 80-year-old parents?
awkward.
Like the kind of feelings you have. Then there's also the sex scene. You're watching a sex scene with your wife or significant other next to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In my case, it's more like, oh, great. It's raising the bar for standards, because especially with a hard-hitting sex scene, But it's like also Huey and Lamont, you'll know this. The rise of the prosthetic penis now on sex scenes is everywhere. Like you can't get.
And this is alarming to you.
Wait, hold on. This is breaking news to me. I only knew about the talking one that was in the Pam and Tommy thing. Are they using that more often now?
From that to White Lotus to all that. And if you dig deeper, the males all admit to wearing a prosthetic. But
Dirk Diggler.
Most people don't know that. So like, especially my wife and now my teenage daughters, they think, oh, these hoggers are natural.
Normal. That's, guys walking around with knee slappers.
Fake news. This is fake news. And so watching it with my wife is a different experience. And then also the fourth layer is if I'm watching something with my teenage daughters and something comes on, it's different now because they're of the age where they're watching pretty much what I'm watching. And it's not like they are when they're younger. And it used to, I was telling Chasta, what made me laugh is when I was younger, if something caught me unexpected, I do the whole like, kids, when a man and a woman love each other very much.
I'm going to use that from now on.
And now it's getting worse. And so at least it breaks the ice because I always have to say it and it bothers them. Like if there's like a priest molesting a kid, I'm like, you see, when a priest loves a young boy very much.
Okay, so I have a question, and if this is too personal and too deep, just say I'm not going to answer that.
Nothing's too deep in his house.
Yeah, right. So let's start with this with your kids because we haven't gotten there yet with Cody because Cody's 8, and so all we watch with him is like
Disney movies.
That
I went through like 10 years of that.
Right, but there'll come a day where, this will happen. So have you already had like the sex talk with your daughters? Like, have you established that already?
They gave him a sex talk.
Yeah. What I found is, especially with what they're hearing at school, once I realized they were far more ahead than I gave them credit for, then talking about it totally was changed. And plus, the clips that are being shared on TikTok, even if you have parental settings, there's a lot of clips being shared. And so they are far more advanced than I gave them credit for. And then I go back, when I was younger, I remember my dad showing me Porky's and Revenge of the Nerds and all that stuff. And I was like, how old was I? And it all checks out, Yeah. It's just that teen mind, you're ready to accept it. But I'm just saying the stuff now is a lot more intense than it was.
Graphic.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, so Cody, that's not an option in our house yet. But like going to the parent thing you were talking about, I would not watch something like that with my mom. My mom is so Pollyanna. Like she's, when she got married, she was had not dated around.
Right.
I don't want to share her business, but she was very straight-laced. And so, that's just not really a topic of discussion. Like, she's my best friend. We talk about everything, but we really don't talk about sexy time. The only time that's ever come up is this is the cutest story. I will share this. This will embarrass her, but it's the funniest thing. Last year, when we bought our house in New Orleans, I may have told you this already.
No.
Did I tell you this? We bought our house. We're moved in. We're so excited. And it's her, me, Jay, and Cody. And my mom was like, do you guys want me and Cody to go sit on the curb? So, and I was like, what? So what, you can christen the house.
Yeah.
And she was so precious about it. She was like, I don't mind. We can just go.
So what'd you tell your mom? You say, oh, no, we've already christened it, Mom.
Jay died. He was like, that's the funniest shit I've ever heard.
Right.
So now the running joke is like, Mom, could you go to the curb? We're gonna,
Yeah.
So that's the way we handle it with my mom. But it's just awkward.
No, it's not. I mean, it depends on the house you grew up in.
Right.
Like, I remember watching movies like that on HBO or something with my mom in the room and say, Mom, does Dad do anal like that with you?
Oh, my God. You're so demented. You're so demented.
And the thing is, I have to say, out of 4 scenarios I gave you, watching with my parents is the most uncomfortable. It is, because
I actually don't doubt that.
Like, you would think it'd be the kids. It's not, because we can joke with them. But like my parents, it's just like super awkward, especially with my mom, because my mom is a saint, and having her sit there and having some anal scene come up, you have to kind of be like,
what kind of movies are they watching?
I know. I'm like, what are you watching?
Okay.
Just like, hey, I like that too, Mom. Great.
Like I said, I know this going in, but it's like, especially if you throw on Game of Thrones or something, that stuff comes out of nowhere.
Right.
Well, it's coming, but you didn't realize how bad it is until someone's sitting right next to you.
Yeah, that's true.
My parents is the worst. It's the worst.
It just kind of sucks the air out of the room. You don't know what to do.
Like, hey, let's turn this movie off. I got to go upstairs and spank it after that.
It is the one thing you can hear a pin drop when like something, because everyone's like, oh, what do we do?
Like, I'm feeling that right now. Like, I feel like I can't breathe right now just thinking about that scenario. Like, no.
Hold it. Even when you're watching with your dad, Smelly, your dad was a bartender at the Moonlight Bunny Ranch.
Or the Mustang Ranch. Yes, come on, get your brothels correct.
Get your brothels correct.
It's my parents together as a unit. I mean, they're side by side all the time.
But if you're with your dad, it's a little
then
different
you
than
could
watching
throw out
with
a rating
your mom.
system for stuff,
The ratings.
But the mom throws everything off.
I think, exactly. I think what Lamont just said is like, it depends on the relationship you have with your parent, the way you're raised. Because like my mom and I never really discussed it ever, ever. Even when I was like, I never had the birds and the bees. Well, like the birds and the bees talk. I didn't have that with my mom. My dad was like, all right, so if you need anything, let me know. Like, he was very, because my dad was like, he was very funny. It was a comedian, very open about everything. And so there was just really nothing off the table.
Sounds like your dad was the bad boy that your mom was.
He was the sweetheart bad boy. He was the guy you thought was a bad boy, but was actually a sweetie pea.
Okay.
He was that guy.
Okay.
Like I've told you guys the tattoos joke, right? I've said that on the air. You know that one, right? About the Did I tell you that?
Tell it to me again.
Just in case you never heard it, but this is a very perfect example of the way that my dad would be around me. So he always dated younger, by the way.
Yeah.
And so he had a girlfriend, and he brought her to the bowling alley. He owned a bowling alley. And he knew I loved tattoos. And so I was like, oh, did you meet so-and-so? You know, she has a really cute tattoo of a little mouse on her leg. And I was like, oh, I want to see, fell right into it. She lifts up her skirt like to show her thigh, and there was nothing there. And he's like, pussy must have ate it. So that was my dad.
That's outstanding.
In a nutshell. That was every day. So with him,
God, if your dad was around, I'd be hanging around with him.
Oh, yeah. There's a big reason why I am able to put up with your shit as much as I do, and it's because I was trained by my dad for it. I was laughing so hard I ripped my headphones out. But
don't say anything, Smelly. She can't hear you now.
Hold on, Smelly. Hold on. There we go.
Exactly.
But yeah, so I think with him it was like a totally different thing because he was just so open about whatever. Nothing was off the table. But my mom's just very classy and proper, and she's just not. It's just a different vibe entirely. Do you watch that kind of stuff with your dad?
Yeah,
because your dad would be hilarious.
Dude, his commentary. Well, he talks all the time during the movie. So him and I are sitting in the living room, and he's just talking. So yeah, there's no awkwardness or awkward silence. He's just talking through all of it. He's like, "Oh, look at that." But when I was younger, I just never was in that situation. My parents didn't really put us in there. They
didn't have a TV.
No, because when we got HBO, I remember one time. When we got HBO in the early 90s and
Did you get it scrambled? Did you not pay for it?
Oh, we had that.
Oh, yeah.
That was the best.
The black box?
Yeah.
Oh, my God, dude.
You're trying to watch pornos and all of a sudden it would fuzz out after 5 minutes and you'd be watching it scrambled for a while?
I don't know about that, but I remember trying to watch HBO and Real Sex 25 would come on or whatever. Yeah.
But I remember one time, when Striptease, the Demi Moore movie, got on HBO, and I would get the little HBO TV guide in the mail. And so I would look, I was like, ooh, Striptease on Saturday morning at 7 a.m. or something. So I would get up early, go upstairs in the living room and start watching it. And I thought I was by myself. All the doors were shut.
Oh, God.
They couldn't hear it.
But I had the volume down. But then I would have the last channel button set to channel 2 or something.
So you'd go previous.
Previous. And then one time I was sitting there watching it and Demi Moore's dancing, and all of a sudden I hear in the background my mom, "What are you watching?" I was like,
"That's great.
Shit.
That's great.
Oh shit. Fuck." But then another time,
Demi Moore's boobs.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was worth it. But in middle school, a friend of mine was having a birthday party or something at his house, and he wanted to watch the movie Trading Places.
Oh, great movie.
And
Jamie Curtis's boobs.
Before the party, I get the day before something, I get a call from him. And he's like, "Hey, Danny, what's going on?" He's like, "My mom wants to talk to your mom." And I was like,
"Uh-oh.
Why?" And I'm like, "Okay." I'm like, "Mom, here's the phone."
Oh, God. That's never a good sign.
The mom wanted to ask my mom if permission to watch Trading Places because she said, "There's a nude scene in there." And I was like, my mom's like, "I don't care. That's fine." Okay.
So your mom was pretty cool with it.
Yeah. Okay. So it's fine. So I was like, all right, can't wait to get to this birthday party.
Someone's got to talk. Someone's got to show baby Huey the friggin' facts of life.
Yeah. Right.
Well, my parents are open to all that. When I was younger, they told me all that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
They talked sex with you? My parents never did that.
That's the thing. I'm shocked that
a lot of people don't.
Yeah. I mean, they told me all that stuff. So when the kids on the schoolyard were talking about that, I was like, "Oh yeah, I know about that."
You're like, "I know all about it."
But so I couldn't wait to get to that birthday party, and I think all of us had the same discussion with our parents, with their parents.
Yeah.
So we're all just sitting there eating pizza, waiting for this nude scene to come up.
That's funny.
Jamie Lee Curtis
has
boobs.
No idea that there was a group of young men just
waiting for this movie
and waiting to see her breasts.
Salivating. Oh my God.
So, okay, this is a natural question then. So how old were you when you watched that movie?
I think I was 7th grade, so 12, 13.
Okay, so 7th grade, and then the nude scene comes up. How many kids are there?
I think 6, 7, 8 of us.
Were there 8 kids walking around with boners after that?
Probably.
You know what? You just brought up a memory for me in real time. I don't remember the age, but I remember having a slumber party and I wanted to watch Dirty Dancing, which is straight-laced as my mom was, is a shock that she allowed me to watch that because that is a bit racy in parts.
It is?
Oh, yeah.
Dirty Dancing?
Oh, yeah. There's some sex scenes and then there's also the whole
there's
abortion.
Sex scenes of Dirty Dancing? I'm going to have to watch that movie.
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely. And then the whole, there's a whole thread read through the movie about abortion. Like that's it. There's some heavy stuff in Dirty Dancing. Yeah.
I never watched it.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah.
What? Oh.
But my mom did the same thing. She had to call parents and be like, can they watch that? And I think all of them said no.
Oh my God.
So that was what alerted
That's
me.
what your mom told you.
I think so.
Maybe
I have
the
to
other
ask her if
parents
she
didn't.
remembers that.
Maybe she didn't even call and said no. The other parents said no, you can't watch it.
No, I had watched it. It was like one of my favorite movies. You know why?
Yeah.
Because my mom.
Sex scenes?
My mom was in love with Patrick Swayze.
Really?
Oh my God. Roadhouse. Point Break. My mom.
Point Break.
I actually, if we called my mom today, I guarantee you she still has Patrick Swayze's poster in her closet.
I tried to watch.
Loved him.
I tried to watch
Keanu Reeves.
Roadhouse with my girls, the original one.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
You guys have all seen Roadhouse, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so you know the part where the bartender gets busted when Patrick Swayze opens the door and he's like doing a girl doggy style and he's like,
Yeah.
like you're fired, and the guy goes, "But I'm on my break." Remember that?
Yeah.
So, I forgot about that scene, and it pops up, and I told the girls, I'm like, you see, when a bartender and loves a young woman very much, they do these things.
So what do your girls do when that happens? I mean, obviously you're making light of it and you're making them laugh, but do they like put a pillow over their face? Are they like embarrassed? They crawl away? Like, what do they do?
No, they're very curious. I mean,
Yeah,
what are you
they're
gonna
that
do?
age.
I used
Yeah.
to say cover your eyes, and then it turned into like, there's like fingers opening, and it's just like I have to keep saying what was I doing at that age, and I was doing like
Way
my
more.
idea of
Way
what I
worse.
wanted to see. It was they're way better than me, but they're also older than when I was trying to look
Right.
at stuff. So
You don't go, hey, he's hitting her from behind and coming up in 2 minutes. You don't want to watch this.
But my dad always says, like, especially with masturbation, he goes, if you can't spell it, I don't want you doing it. That was my sex talk. So
That's funny.
I don't know.
actually-
Probably couldn't spell missionary. I probably couldn't do a lot of things.
Anal's easier to spell. So that's why you wanted to
4 letters.
That's why
That's why I loved it
BJ.
so much. BJ. Oh my God. I always watch, I'm always nervous. I don't know if your kids were like this, Smelly, but YouTube. Because YouTube Kids, Cody has on his iPad. And YouTube Kids, for the most part, is pretty safe. I haven't found anything super crazy on there. I'm more concerned about gun. There are a lot of violence on YouTube videos, especially with games and stuff. So I'm always more concerned about that. But every once in a while, something will pop up and you're like, did I just see, was that like a boob? Like, what was that?
Oh,
and I'll
my
have to
God.
go back in video games.
There is a guy on YouTube right now,
Yeah.
and I caught wind of this because it's educational. It's on YouTube, but kids are
I think
watching
I've
it.
heard this.
It's the guy who's like shows how to put a condom on an erect penis, how to shave your balls, how to shave your butthole.
How to shave your butthole. It is the same guy. I've heard about this guy.
Yes. I
How
was
much
like,
you getting paid for those videos?
I said, what is this algorithm? Because like you just said, with the whole there's parameters.
Right.
Because he markets it under education, he gets away with so much stuff. And if you read the comments, everyone's like, bro, you know how to work the system. It's all because it's like he'll do full on here's how you wax your balls, here's how you shave your balls, and he's got the webcam up in there. It shows
everything.
Yes, and
it's
then
crazy.
when I caught wind of the one of
Baby,
putting
he's
on,
checking it out right now. He wants to
when I
learn how to
caught wind
shave
of
his
the one of
balls.
the guy putting on
tough to reach.
a rubber, he's like first you need an erection. He snaps his finger and then cuts to him having a boner. I was like, whoa, what is this? And then he's all in on being educational, but you can't help but it's not.
Okay, Smelly.
Is that it?
Smelly,
Yeah,
let me
that's
ask you this.
the guy.
Okay,
Yeah.
let me ask you this, Smelly. When he had the boner, is he well endowed, or is this the kind of video you'd show your wife? Say, look at the size of this guy.
Is this a stunt boner?
He's
Okay,
like
first
a
of all,
mushroom.
it's funny because when he was showing how to shave his balls, all the comments were like, "Dude, you have a super small dick." And then he did a response video where he goes, "First off, I'm a bottom, so it doesn't matter." And
okay.
and then
Well, makes a good argument, I guess.
Yeah.
right, so that kind of explains the size issue type of thing.
Gotcha.
Okay. Wow.
But that it's the comment.
That is
section these
precisely why I
Hold it.
monitor YouTube as much as I
Hold it.
do. Is for stuff like that.
I
But
just
it-
want
but-
to say one thing. We have in the clear Smelly saying what he is, and it's not
Oh
him.
my God!
I can use that clip, describe the guy describing what he is where it doesn't matter. I can use that clip. And just say, here's Smelly admitting what he is.
Oh, my God. Well, we know what we're going to hear on the air tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
I can't wait for this podcast to come up. Man, the audio is going to be spectacular.
See, this is why podcasts are great because you kind of forget like you're on the air because we're just in a room talking together. But stuff like that.
Oh my God, I heard that right.
Gen Z not liking all these sex scenes, and
well,
now
it's funny. So, Smelly, it's funny that you bring that up because my favorite podcast, which is on YouTube, the girl in the podcast is like, she cusses like a sailor. Mm-hmm. She's hilarious, but she says things that I would never, ever conceive of saying, not even to my closest people, like vile shit.
Like what?
I would never. I mean, like,
can I hear one of those things in the clear?
No, sir. No, sir. But she's very funny. But she's very anti-sex scenes in movies. And when she said that on the podcast, I was like, this bitch? What?
Yeah,
How is that possible? But she's like, no, like that's for the bedroom. That's like she can talk all about balls and all kinds of stuff on the podcast. I'm going to be very careful what I say here.
I noticed you're editing yourself quite a bit.
I'm like mentally editing myself. But yeah, she's like really not a prude, but she's definitely modest when it comes to that. I don't know where that comes from. I think it may be a bit deeper, like people who are in their late teens, 20s. I have heard, and I'm not going to name any names, but from people that I have heard in that generation, there is a fear of dating and being sexual because of the internet, because of social media, because of the possibility of videos being shared and private information. Because like we all did that before the internet was like a big thing, right? I wouldn't want to. I kind of get that. So people aren't as sexually active for that reason. That's what I've been told. I don't know if that's facts, but that's what I've been told. So it kind of all, I think, is probably connected. Don't you think, Smelly?
Yeah, I mean, especially with the whole platonic and the friendships
you
thing.
You said whole.
But I mean, that's what they're essentially asking for is just more stories based around friendships, Right. And it seems to have been overtaken just by everything's got to be, there's got to be a romantic angle somewhere and everything to make it interesting. And, I mean, some people can totally agree with that because, especially wherever you are in your life determines kind of what's important to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I appreciate you bringing this up because now I know I've learned from today that I will never watch a movie with my son. I will never want to have that.
Mom, let's go to a movie. Is it a Disney movie?
I know. Yeah.
No, then I'm not watching it.
I'm only watching Disney movies for the rest of my life. I've told Jay 1,000 times when this starts to come up, that's your category. I want no part of it. I don't. Because, like, he's getting to the phase where he'll, like, moon us and thinks it's hilarious.
I love that kid.
Yeah, so we're, like, headed towards the danger zone. And as soon as that comes around, I'm like, I'm out. Nope. No, thank you.
You know what? And really, it's their friends. You can do all you want, but once their friends start doing them stuff, all you can do is try to hold on. Lamont will tell you with his boys.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
It's true.
It's all the friends.
You have good kids too. How I don't know.
My wife was overseeing that.
Actually, the both of you and Smelly, your girls are amazing. Like you guys ended up with really great children.
Yeah, it is. It is all because of the wife. I'm not going to be honest.
Glad you guys give credit where credit's due.
Yep.
Well, Smelly, thank you very much for being a part of the pod today.
Yes.
Playing the role of Paul Tonelli today. Well done. We didn't smell garlic through your computer either, so that's pretty
garlic
remarkable.
booze farts.
Yeah. Yes.
So you going to chop up the audio so we hear that tomorrow?
Are you kidding me?
Actually, Serato, who's going to edit this, just take that little chunk out and send it to Lamont.
Straight to me.
All right, you guys. Well, thank you so much for being here. I was going to say leave comments in the comment section below, but maybe we don't want to. I don't know. They could be pretty gnarly this week. Make me blush. Don't do it. All right, Smelly, we love you.
Make Chasta blush this week in the comments.
Don't do that. We'll talk to you next week. Bye.